every day in the Genesis, or the creation 7 days, is, as we're going to see, 1,000 years in Earth history. Every day represents about 1,000 years, and it represents it 1,000 years in a way that is as a day. At the end of the day, it will get dark. Yeah, and that might take a while. Yeah. So that's an ongoing process. While it's day, it's day, and then in the evening it gets more and more dark. Okay, so that's representing one day. Yeah, and every day the Bible says for somewhere in Peter, one of the Peter letters. It says that one day is as 1,000 years, and 1,000 years is as one day. And also in one of the Psalms that's mentioned. Yeah? What does the Bible mean with that? Has it got anything to do with the creation? No. It has got to do first that for God, time is something flexible. He can move in any time. He can be at this moment in the time of Moses, and he can be at this present time, at this moment he can be in the future. God is master over the time, and he is well, maybe so to say, outside of time. Yeah. In what we experience as being 1 second, God can wander around as if it being 1,000 years. Or for God, time is moldable. He can do whatever he wants with it. He created it, so he can do whatever he wants with it. But the 1,000 years, one day, and one day 1,000 years, has got all to do with the history of what God created. And every creation day stands for about 1,000 years in human history, in world history. So the first day, God created heaven and earth, and he created light, the good. And he separated the light from the darkness. Well, he separated the good from the evil. We're going to see that in a moment in Genesis 4, 5 and so on. Yeah? Okay. And the evening came and the morning came, the first day. And God said, verse 6, and God said, let there be a firmament in the midst of the waters, and let it divide the waters from the waters. And God made the firmament and divided the waters which were under the firmament from the waters which were above the firmament, and it was so. And God called the firmament heaven. And the evening and the morning came, and the second day. Okay, second day. What God did was he created the heaven, and he split it up in what we know now biblically as 3 heavens. The first heaven is our atmosphere, where we breathe in, and where the birds fly in, and so on. The second heaven is the universe, the whole universe from the atmosphere outside, the whole universe. Yeah, we can look at the stars and the moon and the whole thing, the whole galaxies and so on. That's the second heaven. The third heaven is where God has his dwelling place. Where it is, I really don't know. No. But God dwells or remains in the third heaven. And Paul mentions that he died one day, Paul, at the moment called Saul in the New Testament, and he was taken to the third heaven where he spoke to Jesus, or he met Jesus, and saw things that were unpronounceable. Yeah? We see that in the New Testament. Okay, the second day. Well, what happened the second day? He divided the waters from the waters. Yes? If you want to understand the Bible more clearly, you have to understand also symbolic meanings from what God is mentioning. For example, we mentioned a moment ago that symbolically, physically, it was real light. God created real light physically, but it has got also a symbolic meaning, and that is good from evil. Yeah, good and evil, light and darkness. The firmament, the waters that were divided. Waters also stand for folks, people. Yeah, big countries. Yeah, a lot of folks, a lot of people. Yeah. You will see that in the rest of the Bible as well, that symbolically has got to do with a lot of people. Yeah, from the first page to the second page to the last page, folks, how do you say, countries and the whole people, the whole population in those countries are symbolized in the Bible sometimes by waters. And what he did, he's dividing the waters from the waters. Yeah, the waters under the heaven from the waters above the heaven, the firmament. Sorry. Yeah, and in the second 1,000 years, you see also that God saw that the man was evil. We will see that in Genesis 6, 7, and 8, and so on. The history of Noah. And what happens there is that God also there divides the waters from the waters. Yeah, you see that the whole earth is flooded. Yeah, separating the waters from the waters. And the waters killed all people except 8, and some animals in the boat, the ark. Yeah. So there was the waters from the waters separated, and that took place in the second 1,000 years, about 1600 something, 1700 after creation day, in the second 1,000 years. So you see here that the second day stands for the second 1,000 years of the earth history, the flood, yeah, Noah. God saw that the man was wicked, and God decided to separate the waters, the evil people, from the good people. Yeah, you see here that symbolic explanation what I gave a moment ago is come to a physical being. Yeah. We know from a lot of evidence that the flood really took place, and that's what I mention in all the rest of my movies and clips. I'm explaining that there the flood, the worldwide flood, is a reality. It's no myth. It's not a myth. It's scientifically sound that it's real. It is real. I'm not going to discuss it right now, but I discuss it in a lot of other movies. If you want to know more about it, look at them. Maybe I have to translate some in English, okay? But here you see that the second day, which God created, stands for the second 1,000 years of the Earth's history. Okay, we go on. Okay. And God said, let the waters under the heaven be gathered together unto one place, and let dry land appear. And it was so. And God called the dry land earth, and the gathering together of the waters He called seas. And God saw that it was good. And God said, let the earth bring forth grass and herbs yielding seed, and the fruit trees yielding fruit after his kind, whose seed is in itself upon the earth. And it was so. And the earth brought forth grass and herb yielding seed after his kind, and the tree yielding fruit, whose seed was in itself after his kind. And God saw that it was good. And the evening came, and the morning came, the third day. So on the third day, God separated the water and the land, and on the land He created the herbs and the vegetables and the green, everything that's green, the plants, the trees, and so on, so on, so on. Yeah. But also in the third 1,000 years of the earth history after the flood, Abraham appeared.